Hello, this is Bread Wild and welcome to another video. This one is going to be a little bit different. Now, I know you've heard me say that before, but this time we're not even going to go flying. People ask me in comments below videos and in emails what my favorite airplanes are and why I fly what I fly. So I thought I would walk through my hangar and point out those airplanes that I do like to fly, and also some of the ones that I don't. And I'll try to give you some reasons why without picking on anybody in particular. And I'm going to try to do this quickly and not spend a lot of time on any one airplane, but try to give you some comparisons as well. So let's start with one of the default airplanes from Laminar Research, the developers of X-Plane. And this is the Cessna 172 SP. This is an airplane that personally is one of my favorites because I used to fly them. And so I'm quite familiar with this airplane both in real life and now in a simulator. They've done a terrific job with this airplane. It's kind of their poster airplane and one that they use to show off all the wonderful things that they've done in X-Plane 11. X-Plane 11 also comes with another Skyhawk, one that features the X-Plane 1000 or Garmin 1000 avionics set. One is something similar to a PFD and the other one an ND, and they add a lot more immersion to the experience. And this is the 172 I prefer to fly. A quick word about the avionics that come out of the box with X-Plane. We just saw the X-Plane or Garmin 1000, which is just fine. It's missing a lot of functionality that you would expect, like VNAV. The 430 and 530 have been around for a while. These are modeled after Garmin as well, and they are adequate. They will fly approaches, ILS, and RNAV. They'll take a flight plan, fly a GPS route, do some VNAV, have a moving map, but these are antiquated radios, and it would really be nice if they would come up with something like the Skyview, which you will find in the Arabesque aircraft, very contemporary and modern avionics. So enough whining about the Garmins that come with X-Plane, and moving down the aisle in my hangar we come to the Cessna 210. No longer manufactured by Cessna, but available to us through Coronado. It's a complex airplane, meaning it's got a constant speed prop, so it requires a little bit more care on initial climb and approach. It's fast. It's got great views. Notice not only a top wing, but it doesn't have a strut. And it does come with the Garmin 550, and you've already heard my feelings about that, but a great little airplane. And moving down the aisle to a more complex aircraft, only because it's a twin, is the Beechcraft Baron 58 from Coronado. I really like this airplane. It flies beautifully, and if you know anything about Beechcraft, they are kind of the Mercedes in the way they look and outfit them, the way they feel. They're beautiful airplanes. New, this airplane is over $1 million. But unfortunately, again, this one comes with the Garmin 550, but at least it has that. So, highly recommended airplane from Coronado. And moving up again in complexity is the Pilatus PC12. This is an older model, but it's a turbojet, single engine, kind of unusual looking, but it's really nicely appointed, flies beautifully. Again, this is from Coronado. It is an X-Plane 11. It's a little bit more complicated to fly than some of the others, but once you get the hang of it, it's a lot of fun, and it goes like a bat out of hell. And this is one of my favorite airplanes, and I fly it quite a bit. One of the things that I have gotten used to is how many X-plane developers are enamored with the past. This is the Saab 340A from Hex Aviation, which is a really fine aircraft in terms of immersion, but the airplane went out of production about 20 years ago. That said, every switch, every knob works. And it's a very difficult airplane to fly. You have to follow the rules. You have to go through the checklist. Otherwise, things aren't going to work. But it's also very satisfying to fly. But unfortunately, again, the downside is it's equipped with a lowly Garmin 550, which actually is a recent addition to this airplane, which is really not X-Plane 11 officially, but it is compatible. One note of caution, it's a frame rate hog. But I like to fly this airplane nonetheless. So finally we get to the jets. This is a small general aviation jet, single pilot. In real life, it's been developed by One Aviation. It's called the Eclipse 550. And for X-Plane, it's manufactured by Arabesque and features the most sophisticated avionics in any X-Plane civil aviation aircraft. It has the sky view from Dynon, and it also has the Garmin 750. So these are a joy, and once you get used to them, they are a little bit complicated. They make flying a lot of fun. The airplane itself, very easy to fly, very easy to get it cranked up and going. It's a lot better looking on the outside than it is the inside. I'm not a big fan of the cockpit itself. It looks very plastic and artificial. You know, you don't see the nicks and wear that you might see in something like a Coronado or an X Aviation airplane. But that aside, highly recommended. I fly this a lot, and one of the better small business jets available. Well, I was pretty happy to see Coronado come out with the Embraer 500 Phenom 100 because it was a bigger business jet than the Eclipse 550 from Arabesque. But I've been disappointed. The Garmin 1000, implemented by Laminar Research, is disappointing, and I've already mentioned that several times. And the other thing is some sort of a memory leak or a bug, because after a while the frame rates will drop dramatically or the software will just crash. All this is very disappointing because the plane is beautifully rendered by Coronado, as all their airplanes are, but I really can't recommend this airplane at this point. The Bombardier Challenger 300 was one of my favorite airplanes in X-Plane 10. It might have even been out in 9, I don't remember. And this is an updated version, and really the only thing that is noticeable readily is some of the PBR reflections that you find in X-Plane 11 aircraft. The outside of this airplane is beautifully rendered. Once you get inside, it's a little disappointing. Not a little disappointing, a lot disappointing, because the cockpit, the avionics have not been updated, although it does use the default FMS. And this is the first airplane I'm showing you that comes with an FMS, but it is the default one from Laminar Research and leaves a lot to be desired. So this airplane needs a big update, and I really can't recommend you spending the money for it at this point. I do have a couple of airplanes in my hangar that I don't fly anymore. The X-Crafts Embraer 175 and the SSG Embraer 195. While they are nicely rendered on the exterior and they are X-Plane 11 compatible, I just find them frustrating. They are buggy and they use non-proprietary FMCs, and I just find them very unreliable. So I'm going to finish up with two of my favorite aircraft. This is the Zeebo 737, which is a wrapper or modification of the Laminar Research default 737. And I might add that while they look about the same, both exterior and interior, they are vastly different, especially once you get into the cockpit. Most of the switches and knobs really work. You have to follow the rules. It's very immersive. And once you get the hang of it, it's actually relatively stable and very gratifying to fly. So I highly recommend that you fly the free Zeebo 737. There's lots of videos, especially from my friend Steve Haynes, who has done a real study of this aircraft and unpacks it in great detail in his videos. And then the next airplane, and probably my favorite in X-Plane, is the JAR A320. I like it because it's very stable, and now that I've got my head around it, very easy to fly, and immersive. The FMC, both in this airplane and in the Zeebo 737, are relatively realistic and give you great flexibility and actually make flying both of these airplanes a lot of fun. If you have any questions, any comments, or would like me to go into any more detail on a particular airplane, be sure to leave me a comment. So, thanks for visiting my little hangar.